Hey everybody, I'm GVO Go Home. Today I want to show you exactly how we can make these Athearn bi-level cars run a little bit better than what they do. Now, this happens every time when I get a brand new set of these cars, or they also came as individual cars as well, but they're all basically made the same way, right from the factory. Besides their FUBI appearance, which basically just means that they're not prototypical, they don't run all that well. And part of it is the wheel sets, and another part of it is the couplers that it comes with that are stock. So I'm going to show you a couple of tricks today to actually make these work a lot better for your layout and work together with other Athearn bi-level cars as well. Because if you have one that doesn't run all that well, then it ruins it for the whole lot of them, basically. So, and we're just going to stick to the exterior today. You can definitely add lighting to them. If it's a cab car, you can add lights to the end, and we can also add passengers. But our focus today is going to be the outside of this car. We're going to make sure it runs perfect before we decide to add lighting and invest in little HO scale people to decorate the insides, because that's not going to make it run better. The wheels and the trucks is where we're having the issue. So let's take a look and see what we can do to make them work better for you. Okay, so for this project here, what we're going to need is at least one bi-level car. Athearn was the only one that really made these cars. So besides the fact that they're really hard to find, if you are able to find one, I mean, that definitely helps in this scenario a lot. We also want some sort of small screwdriver. This one has both the flathead and the star option at either end. And also we need some new couplers. Now I'm going to leave the wheels and the axles all stock, but I'm definitely changing out these couplers because they do not work. I find that cars become uncoupled very easily, and they do not hold, and also they just don't work. So we're going to go with some KD number 5s. And I happen to have a whole bunch because I knew I was going to be getting some cars. And I'll show you the difference between each coupler and whatnot. But first, we're gonna take the wheel sets off, and I'm gonna show you how we can make the wheels roll better and work better. It's also important to have a test track here as well, just for a scenario like this. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna remove that screw. There's only one screw right in the middle of the trucks there. And we're going to put the screw aside, and I'll show you what we're going to do with the actual trucks. All right, so check this out. So basically, the way that these wheel sets work is that it's 4 separate little wheels, and they go into these little plastic tunnels, right? So they just pop off of here, because there's the little hooks on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. And that's just what it looks like there. So you can actually add power to this wheel or power to the other wheel without worrying about the positive to negative touching, which is great if if you can do that custom work and whatnot. However, the problem with this is that these wheels will move in and out of this because they're not locked in anywhere. So what happens is that when you first get them from the warehouse, there's a lot of play back and forth between the wheels, and sometimes it's way too much. So what I like to do is I put them on my track just like that, and I separate them ever so slightly hoping that, there we go, okay. And then, now you can also get a HO gauge, but I put it right to the track because I don't have one of the HO gauges, and it works just as good. Now I do that with all 4 wheels that are on the axle here, and then as I finish, I just pop them back on. So I'll do this one as well. So see how there's like a lot of play there? And what happens is that you run the risk of it, you know, coming right off and whatnot. I also find that these wheel sets, they like code 100 more, but because I'm using code 85 or 83, I have to be very particular as to how loose or how tight they are against the actual rails. So I do this literally with every wheel set just to make sure that they are nice and snug on the rail with next to no play. I pop them back on just like that. Now, among a few other issues, I've actually received wheels that were not properly locked in to the wheel sets here. So that's another thing that you want to check for. You want to make sure everything's locked in as well. But then we'll put those aside. So next, we want to replace the cover for the actual coupler. And it's just 2 screws. 1 and 2. There we go. And the cover slides off. That's just what the cover looks like there. We'll just put that aside. Now, this one here is almost like a double coupler because you've got a piece in here, and I'll show you that, that the coupler goes into, and that actually has a screw to it. And then this moves back and forth as well. Now, one thing you can do is you want to test it because it always has to revert back to middle. But if it's too tight, then it's going to, when you push it over to the side, it's going to stay right like over onto the side. So you want to make sure that it does have a good amount of wiggle to it, but that the screw is down far enough to actually, you know, hold it so it doesn't come off. Regular maintenance on not just your locomotives, but your rolling stock is very necessary. So you want to make sure that you do that every so often. Check all your cars and make sure everything is running smoothly. So next we're going to add one of these, which basically it centers your coupler. Now I'm going to show you this here because this is a KD number 5. KD number 5 coupler. Cool. I know it might be a little bit blurry, but... And then this is the stock plastic that it comes with. So they are about the same in every way except for this is plastic. There's no... It doesn't look... Yeah, there's a little black spring in there. But it doesn't move all that much. It doesn't actually go back and forth. Where this one here, when you actually pull back, it goes back, but then it locks forward again. And the spring is really good in it. So what we do, we use our little metal center thing here, which it does also spring the coupler as well. It springs it forward or to the center position. So we'll put that in. Then we put the KD number 5, keeping in mind to put it in upside down because the whole car is upside down. And while that's in place, you put the shield over top. And if you're all thumbs, then this is going to be really difficult. Which I am all thumbs when it comes to stuff like this. But it's okay. It's not a huge deal. Dang. Could this be any more difficult? Oh, there we go. All right, so now before I screw that down, we just want to give it a look-see. So see how it has a lot of play to it, but it always winds up in the center again. That's a good coupler right there. And I'm just going to put the screws back in. Again, we're not going to over tighten it because then it's just going to hold the coupler down in place if it was to move. We want it to be as center as possible. One thing it never does is, and I was testing this yesterday, with these couplers here, I could not couple two cars together on a curve. Yeah, it's really weird. But with the new ones, absolutely you can connect them on a curve, which is really nice because not every yard is straight. Not everywhere where you're gonna have, you know, that option for doing the switching out of cars and whatnot, it's not always going to be straight. So it's good to have that option. And then basically, because I'm done with that side there, I'm gonna put this wheel set back in, and then I'm gonna do the exact same thing with the other side. Again, you don't wanna over tighten these, but you've got your free rolling trucks. You've got a metal coupler now, which is a lot better. Again, that's a KD number 5. And then we've also adjusted the wheels so that they roll a lot better. Another key point here would be a cradle. Now there's nothing on the top of this that I have to worry about getting scratched, but if you're doing a locomotive or something with detail parts on the top, you probably do want to use a cradle. This is just cork here, so I know it won't get damaged. Won't damage it at all. But there you go. We've just updated the couplers and we made the wheels work a little bit better. And now she's ready to be put into service and she's gonna work way better now. All right, thanks again for watching. I'm GVO Go Home. This was just a little tip or tidbit that you could use to enhance the usability of your Athearn bi-level cars. This did come in many different road names as well, so don't feel limited just because it's a Go Transit car. They were all made the same by the same manufacturer, same molds, same underbody bits, same couplers. So if you take my advice, you can definitely have a better running car overall, and you'll get a lot more enjoyment out of running this type of rolling stock. Anyways, until next time, I have a train to catch.